Hello, I'm Trudy, One Grounded Angel. This is the weekly angel card reading for the week beginning on Monday the 5th of February to Sunday the 11th of February 2018. Last week was pretty rough. I don't know how you guys handled it, but that total eclipse, the total lunar eclipse, combined with it being a blood moon and a supermoon. I can't even remember, there's so much going on. Technically a blue moon, or not, though not here, because in Australia it actually fell after midnight, which is technically February, therefore not a blue moon. But anyway, let's not diminish its power by getting technical, okay? It was really powerful. I know a lot of people who went through a lot of turmoil. For me personally, my insomnia was rampant. It's been a rough week, and I know you're all there with the feels. So let's put that all behind us. Hopefully we learned what we needed to learn. The big theme, of course, with a full moon of any type, but also with it being a super moon, it's even more intense. But the big theme is about letting go. So often those sort of really powerful planetary alignments, technically the moon's not a planet, but we call it one in astrology, they serve to teach us something. Normally they show us, often in quite an abrupt way, what's not working for us. The challenge for us is to be brave enough to accept that and go, okay, I'm walking away. Okay, I'm going to leave this job. I'm going to walk away from this relationship. I'm going to sever ties with this friend. It's not easy, but your choices are staying stagnant or moving on, and there's pain either way. So I always, whenever someone comes to me for a romance card reading and they want to know, should I stay or should I go in this relationship, the question that it often comes down to is, if things stay the same for you now in 5 years, how are you going to feel? And that usually tells people what they need to know. It's hard to make changes. We love stability as humans, but standing still is even worse, I tell you. It's not good. So at least with change, there's hope and there's promise of things getting better. So while I was going off on that massive tirade, I started shuffling. You might have noticed this is Monday. Guiding children. I don't know why we keep getting so many of these cards around kids. I don't know what it is. I can only, of course it's not my job to ask those questions, I'm just a messenger. Probably you know, or someone watching this does, is obviously people who really need to know, to have this affirmed. Now, in the past sort of couple of weeks, the cards we've had around children are reassuring people that their kids are safe. And of course messages about reminding us that we're safe too, and that we are children of the universe, so we're being looked after. Now this card here from this deck does have a different dimension, slightly different, in that it's also about working with kids. So there must be a few people watching this who need to work with kids, or who would suit working with kids, and that might be in a voluntary capacity, maybe mentoring. I know there are lots of programs that allow people to do that. Maybe it's you've got a niece or a cousin or someone in your life who needs your guidance. It's up to you how you interpret it, but this is the card. I'm going to leave that up to you guys. I'm quite baffled by why these keep coming up, because normally when I see a theme, it's sort of confined to a week or a couple of weeks, but this is just basically every week there's some sort of child-related card. And obviously those of you who are parents, maybe some of you are struggling, or I'm not quite sure what it is, but anyway, whoops, that wasn't good. This deck is a little bit bigger than the others, so not that I'm making excuses for my clumsiness. I don't know if this is actually the right one for today. It's not really. No, I'm going to say it's not. To be continued. Tuesday, the 6th of February. Oh, nailed it. Forgiveness. So this is one of the fundamental laws of the universe for those who've worked with A Course in Miracles, which is one of the kind of foundation metaphysical texts. I'm not familiar with it, so I can't speak to it, but I do know that forgiveness is one of the cornerstones of it, and that's because we can't live in love if we are holding on to bitterness and anger. They're total opposites. People think that the opposite of love is hate. It's not. It's apathy. So if you've ended a relationship and you're still angry at your ex, you haven't moved on. You've still got feeling there. If you feel apathy towards them, then you've moved on. So now what I need to tell you about this. So forgiveness, one of the greatest misconceptions about forgiveness is that when you forgive someone, you're saying that what they did was okay. It's like the part of our ego that wants power does not want to be wrong. And here's the deal. When you forgive someone, it's not about right or wrong. They might be wrong. They probably are wrong. It doesn't matter. It's not about that. What it is about is just forgiving what happened and or choosing not to live in anger or in bitterness because of it. And that's really important, because if your arms are full of the burdens of resentment or anger or bitterness or anything like that, you're too burdened down to welcome and love. And the heart's function is to give and receive love. Those things are blocking you. So chances are that when you saw this, you knew instantly who it was referring to. But if you don't, it could well be that you need to forgive yourself. So are you angry or regretful? Are you kicking yourself over something you've done in the past? Are you living in the past at all? Sometimes that's all this is about. It's about you needing to stop looking in the rearview mirror and start looking the direction you're going, which is forward, because you can't move forward if you're still looking in the rearview mirror. So letting go of what happened, there are ways you can do that. There are forgiveness meditations on YouTube, which I can't personally endorse because I've only ever done one of them and I couldn't even remember what it was. What I do is I write a letter to the person, pouring out my feelings, and the reason that's effective is because often when some sort of resentment has happened, it's because part of the reason I'm holding on to it is because I haven't been heard, I haven't been seen, I haven't been understood. All any human being wants is to be heard and understood. Not necessarily agreed with, it's more about being recognised. So that really helps with that. And then if it's safe for you to burn it, do so. Burning is a hugely ceremonial act the universe recognises, or you can just tear it up if that's the best option for you in terms of your living arrangements and the laws in your state around burning things. And I know someone told me that she burns things in the kitchen sink, but I don't want to recommend anyone does that because it's up to you to make a call based on safety. But remember, this is a symbolic act, so say, which the universe loves symbolism. This is why clearing out your wardrobe is hugely symbolic and powerful. Say to the universe, I'm letting this go now, as you do that, burning or tearing up. So it's really, the card is asking you, where are you stuck? Where are you holding on to wounding, and how could you let that go? And chances are you might not be ready to do that just yet. If that's you, it's something to work at. Yeah, and sometimes the reason we're not ready to let go is because we want to be right, which is totally understandable. But sometimes the cost of that can be a little bit too high. Wednesday, Unfinished Symphony. This brings to mind a quote I saw on Instagram. In case you hadn't noticed, I do quite love quotes on Instagram. I post them just about every day. That everybody thinks that they are a masterpiece, not a work in progress. If you think you're a masterpiece, you're going to be really hard on yourself when you screw up. And everybody screws up because, in fact, you're human, and that is how you learn. And the problem is we think we should be perfect, and we berate ourselves when we're not. Really, really unhelpful. We're so hard on ourselves. And this is reminding you that you are imperfectly perfect, or perfectly imperfect, I should say. So please stop trying to see yourself as complete. This is not the way your story ends. There's so much more to go. Try to be, with the musical kind of symbolism here, if you think about the way music kind of undulates, it ebbs and it flows, a bit like water, I guess, and there's a crescendo, there's a drop. It's all sorts of, that rhythm is kind of really significant about, in terms of the way our life plays out. So just try to remember things have not finished yet. You're still going, and there's so much more that you don't know yet. The universe knows, and you will know it in time, but at the moment what you need to do is be prepared to keep playing and seeing how it's going to turn out. And please try not to be too harsh on yourself for if you haven't created that perfect symphony yet, which you probably won't until the end of your life, and that will be it. We're all here to keep learning, and the day you run out of things to learn, you're pretty much done, because You're either choosing to stagnate and refusing to learn lessons, which means you've got a life of misery ahead, or perhaps you've done everything you came here to do. Now, I don't mean to, I just want to clarify that because I realise how it sounded. If you choose to stagnate, that is absolutely your choice. There are plenty of people who live their lives and refuse to learn the lessons they need to learn, and that's okay. That's their choice. It doesn't mean that I don't mean to say that you're not living your life correctly. It's entirely up to you and what your soul determines. But remember that if that is your choice, research shows that people who don't adapt to change aren't as fulfilled as others. So the things that give us life satisfaction are being fulfilled, having a sense of purpose. This is what research shows. So if you are not learning and growing and evolving, that's going to be really difficult for you to do. Thursday, randomly specific card here about animals. So a couple of things this can mean. It could mean there's an animal in your life that you have a special connection with and it's asking you to celebrate that. It could be asking you to spend more time in nature around animals. The great thing about animals is they remind us how to be still and how to be present, unless you're an excited puppy, of course, but they are fully present in the moment and they see all the joy there is, and that's a really important lesson for us as well. Now, some of you would suit working with animals as well. I know I just said that with kids as well, but it feels like there's a lot of energy around evolving in terms of career, and some of us maybe can have opportunities to be moving from our passions and bringing those more into a professional sphere. So if you're into animal guides, look, I don't know much about them, but and you already know your animal guide, this could also be confirmation that that connection is real. I can't speak to that because I don't know much about it. So there you go. 2 things I need to learn today. More about A Course in Miracles, which I spoke to even though I don't really understand it, and more about spirit animals. Although one has been identified for me in a reading I had with a really awesome reader I use because I find it hard to read for myself. So maybe there is a meaning for me to delve further into that. But Friday, yes, Friday. Mother, okay, more about kids, sort of. So Mother is, it's about, it sounds like it's a woman-only card. It's not. Everybody has a balance of masculine and feminine energy. In an ideal world, they would be perfectly balanced, but of course, things happen, we get it, we get out of balance easily. This is reminding all of us, regardless of your gender, to tune into your nurturing side. So we're all nurturing in some ways. Hopefully we're nurturing of ourselves. That's always a challenge in a world that encourages us to put ourselves down and to see ourselves as not good enough. But also there are people in your life, maybe animals, that you are nurturing. Your kids would be obviously a good example of that. Your close friends, the people you're mentoring, even your partner, you would be nurturing of in some way. So look to tap into that energy and see how you can do more of that. I do feel for some of you it is about nurturing yourself more, nurturing your talents and nurturing your softer side. That's what feminine energy is. It's that softer side. There are lots of different strands to feminine energy, of course. There's also the seductress, that sort of the sexual sort of side. There's also the crone, I guess, that wisdom types side. There's all these different. There's also the maiden, I guess, that innocent side. So I'm potentially going to go off on a tangent here, so I'm going to pull myself back in and move on quickly before I do that. Saturday. I think I used this particular card deck for last Saturday, and I had exactly the same card. First of all, pretty proud of myself for remembering that, and also pleased that I don't have to repeat myself too much because I can remember it. So, well, I will actually be repeating myself, of course, but it's easy to tap into this one anyway, because compassion is one of the fundamental tenets of our job as human beings. Remembering, of course, that we are not humans having a soul experience, we are souls having a human experience, and your soul will always sing in the frequency of love, compassion being part of that. So how can you show more compassion for others today? actually every day ideally, but this is coming out to remind us to focus on it in particular today. This often comes up for clients when they are having a conflict with someone, or they're locked in some sort of grudge, resentment, appropriate given I was just speaking about this. One of the best ways to kind of move through that is to recognize where the other person is coming from. Not that that makes it right what they did, but just because it helps you to see them as human. And you can sort of see, even though you're not necessarily okay with what happened, you can sort of see what sort of forces were impacting on their choices and why they might have done what they did. That can help. So that might be relevant to you here. That's often the case with this one, but it also could be just asking you to give more. When you give, whatever you're given, give more of. That's kind of the deal. I often say to people when they're stuck financially, give more money away. Now, I'm not saying be foolish with it, but I often find that starting to trigger that flow better happens when I give more money to charity, for example. It just helps things move faster, because money's an energy. I don't know how I went off on money there talking about compassion, but anyway, it's all energy. Sunday, giving and receiving. Oh my goodness, what I just said, giving and receiving, flow. I talk about this a lot with the heart. In order to for love energy to flow, it needs to be given and received equally. This is how you get a toxic friendship, when you are giving, and they're not giving anything back, or you're taking, but not letting, not giving anything yourself, or maybe you're not letting others help you. That could be what this card is saying to you. Maybe you're not allowing yourself to receive. Perhaps there's some self-worth kind of issues going on there. Perhaps you have been raised to be a woman who puts herself last because you're a mum, or you've been taught that women, it is their job to make everyone else happy. There could be all sorts of reasons going on behind that sort of programming. Perhaps you have been taught that there is not enough for me, therefore I must take everything I can get. Make sure other people always give more than me so that there's enough for me, that sort of thing. I know I used to, I've talked about this before, I used to have this friend who every time you'd go to the pub, we'd do rounds, and she'd always disappear when it was her round, and then the next day she'd always boast about how much money she'd saved. Just an utter sense of entitlement. She felt that that she was entitled to be treated by other people, and partly that was her upbringing, but also I think my little amateur psychology, if you delve down enough, it would come from a fear. Most things do come from a fear. There's not enough for me, I have to take everything that's available. Sometimes there can be a fear there's not enough love for me as well, not just in money, I'm talking more generally now. So just be aware of where those blocks are in terms of you giving and receiving. Make sure it's flowing in your primary relationships, your most crucial relationships. And also, this could be putting a spotlight on any relationships that are not working. And the nature of relationships is they can't be held on to. The vast majority you will not hold on to your entire life. So it's really important not to hold on to a relationship just because you have history. I'm talking a relationship of any type. Primarily friendships, I was thinking in that case. A lot of people hold on to their high school friends because they've got so many memories, but you can't hold on to something that's no longer working, and people do change, and that's totally okay. It doesn't make you a bad person to walk away from that. So, we're talking very fast because I'm conscious of time. So let me do a summary and try to slow down a bit. We have the themes of this nurturing energy again with children and the mother card. I don't know that I've ever seen both of them in a single week, so that is interesting. Also interesting that I spoke about how this child card comes up randomly most weeks, and then I don't see it again, and then as if despite me, they gave me another relevant card in the same week. So maybe I should stop commenting on themes, because who knows what to expect. We also have, I would say there's a strong connection between this compassion and forgiveness card, and I think some of you have got some sort of tensions in your lives that will be speaking to, and just the flow of love. So maybe love is really the predominant theme here, this giving and receiving, making sure it's even, making sure we're opening up our hearts, there aren't any blocks there, which is appropriate. We're still under the influence of that aforementioned supermoon total lunar eclipse. It was in Leo, the sign of love, the sign of bravery, the sign of romance, the sign of creativity and of passion. So very much a heart focused card. Also leadership, but often leadership with heart, if that makes sense, which is really what, if you think about a leader with heart, what they're embodying is compassion. Randomly animal. I'm going to do some more reading about this one before I put it on Instagram, because I'm wondering if there's something I'm missing here, because it's very unexpected that it's come up. And as I said, obviously I can't necessarily expect certain things, but I do get a sense there might be something more to that one that I haven't quite explored with you guys yet. Thank you very much for your time. I'll put these on my social media. My Instagram is @OneGroundedAngel if you're not already following me, and my Facebook page is called One Grounded Angel. I do sometimes on that Facebook page post articles in support of the cards. I know last week I posted the article about signs, the card about signs, and then I also came across a beautiful cloud image of a dove, and I talked about how clouds are often signs as well. So that seemed appropriate, so I posted it, and I know a lot of you loved it. So it was very powerful, I thought. Thank you very much for watching. Have an excellent week, and I'll read for you again the following week when there is another slightly concerning, slightly terrifying planetary movement to note. Not really. It's we have another eclipse, a solar eclipse combined with a new moon, and it's not going to be as severe as what we've just had, but it is related to what just had. So I will talk about that a bit and do another article / blog post about it. Do not be scared. It's actually not that scary at all. We're through the worst of it now. Take care, everybody.